There are 3 Visio tutorials, and this video is going to talk about the first Visio tutorial. This tutorial is designed to make students comfortable with the basics of Visio and be more productive at it. Visio is a varied diagram, chart, and design package. Visio is much maligned, but it is super for what it is designed for, and flowcharts are exactly what it is designed for. In short, you drag and drop shapes where you want them, join them together with connectors, and they stay attached no matter how you rearrange them. You can do this effectively in PowerPoint, Excel, or Photoshop or Illustrator. You can do this in Visio and can end up with some very nicely presented documents depending on the shapes you use. You've got to invest a little time learning Visio user interface quirks and sorting out your templates. If you want to gain a competitive advantage at doing this, it is worth the effort. In addition, there are ready-made templates in Visio which make the process much faster. Visio also helps in building nice, high-resolution 300 dpi line drawings for printed work. Visio lets the user export the file in various image formats and gives much more control over the size and resolution of the output. It is well integrated with other MS products and lets user export Excel data, which in turn creates charts in a matter of seconds. Converting Microsoft Visio files to Microsoft Excel files is also a simple process. Microsoft purposely builds in compatibility between all of its utility-based software to create an integrated experience that makes completing tasks with each program much easier. While converting files between Visio and Excel may sound like a difficult task, it is actually quite simple with the proper instructions. As I said, Visio is ideal for flowcharts and process mapping. This tutorial will teach students the use of straightforward tools and simple procedures to create professional flowcharts, pivot diagrams, organization charts, and many other things. Along this process, students will learn techniques to drag and manipulate Visio master shapes, create connections between shapes, apply styles to shapes, text, and pages, and create data graphics. Students will generate organization chart from imported data and edit custom properties to store additional information in diagrams. Further, students will learn shortcuts to enhance productivity and use unique tools designed for each type of drawing. Post completion of this course, students will have a firm grasp of the skills needed to create any kind of diagram using Visio. In order to get started, you need to be familiar with Visio language. The first one is drag and drop. Drag and drop is a method used to create drawings on a drawing page. It is a technique to pull shapes from the left-hand side toolbar or stencil and release it onto the drawing board. So once again, you simply click on any shape which you would like to use, simply drag it to the drawing board and release it. This is how you can start a drawing. You simply need to drag and release the drawing onto the drawing board. The next terminology is shape. Shape is an object, and collection of shapes are used to create diagram, and it is probably the most important element in Visio. Visio consists of thousands of shapes, such as a piece of office furniture in an office layout diagram, or document shape in basic flowchart. Stencil is the next terminology. It is a tool used by Visio to organize shapes such that searching for shapes can be easier and quicker. Stencils are displayed in the Shapes pane on the left-hand side of the screen so that shapes are always available while you're working. It is essentially a collection of related shapes. If you want to create a cubicle layout diagram for your office, for example, you can use the cubicle stencils, which includes shapes such as workstation, posts, and panels. So you simply go ahead and click on More Shapes, And under that, you can click on Maps and Floor Plans. And under that, you can click on Building Plan and select any option you want. I have clicked on Cubicles, and once I click on that, I can go ahead and drag Council Workstation onto the drawing board, and let's say Panel Posts, as well as Panels, to create an office work layout. Now we're going to take a look at connectors. Connector in short is in line automatically connecting two shapes. For instance, a flowchart begins with start shape and is followed by other shapes connected via connectors. So for example, I want a decision box in this case. So I'm simply going to roll over this triangle and go to this decision box, and the decision box has appeared on the drawing board. And let's say now I want a process box, so I'm going to have a process box. So I'm simply going to roll over this triangle and click on the process box. Now let's say I want a document box, but that has not appeared in these top four shapes. So what I'm going to do is, from the stencils, I'm going to drag this document box and place it instead of start and end, which means I can place it on the 4th position, 3rd position, 2nd, or the 1st. So what is important to note here is that under stencils, the order of the objects is very crucial, because that is what is going to appear once you roll over the blue triangle. So now you can see that once I roll over the blue triangle, I have the document shape available. So I'm simply going to click on that. Let's say I want the data object to appear instead of sub-process in top four shapes. So I'm simply going to replace it with the sub-process. And I want the decision box to appear last. So when I roll over, these are my top four objects, and I can select from any four of them. I have selected data object. So once again, these are the arrows through which shapes are connected, and the order of these objects in a stencil is crucial, because that is what decides what is going to appear when you roll over the blue triangle. An important tip to remember is that in case you already have two existing shapes on the drawing board and you would like to simply connect them, then click on the preceding shape and just roll over the blue triangle until the connector appears, and just simply click on the blue triangle. Automatically, the connector would appear. If you would like to place any text on the connector, you can just simply double click on the connector and you can type in the text that you want. Say I can just type in testing, and here it is. Finally, templates. A template defines certain characteristics of the drawing so that the drawing is consistent. It is a collection of stencils in addition to predefined document settings. It is a model for creating a particular type of drawing. For instance, using a Visio template will automatically open one or more appropriate stencils, define the page size and scale of your drawing, and also define appropriate styles for things such as text, fills, and lines. You can change any of these elements, but the point of using a template is to maintain consistency throughout the drawing and quickly work through the drawing. Template is the first thing available to you when you open Visio. It is under the File tab. So File tab has various options on the left hand side, such as saving options. You can open files from here. You can close files. You have information about drawing that is currently open. Recent drawings, that means all the recent drawings which the user has been working on. New tab. This is where all the templates are available. It is divided into various segments: recently used templates, template categories, and other ways to get started. So under recently used templates, it basically contains all the templates that have been recently used. So in this case, it is basic flowchart, organization chart, database model. The next segment is template categories. So all the templates have been categorized or divided into these options, which is business, engineering, flowchart, general, and so on and so forth. So if I click on flowchart, then it's going to take me to another window which has all the flowcharts available in Visio. And if I select a certain kind of flowchart, let's say I select basic flowchart, and then I move to the right of my screen, and this is where it has the drawing of the flowchart and also a small description of the basic flowchart. So I can simply go ahead and click on create, and it'll open that particular template for me with the relevant stencils, and I can just start working on it. And if you would like to go back to the categories window, you can simply go ahead and click on home, and it'll take you back. There's also a folder called Visio. This basically contains all the templates created by the user. So if I click on Visio, it'll take me to the templates which I have created. Let me just go back to the home tab. And finally, other ways to get started. You can simply open a blank drawing if you do not want to work with templates. Or you can go ahead and open sample diagrams. There are a bunch of diagrams which you can choose from, and you can start with that. Or you can use an existing template. Other options available in Visio are you can print a file directly from here. You can save and send the file to anybody you want. You also have the options window in Visio where you can change advanced options for Visio, and you can exit from Visio as well from this particular tab. One of the most useful features to beat or deal with moving around bigger sized and more detailed diagram is zooming and panning. This feature helps you to zoom in and zoom out and pan, move left, right, and up and down within the drawing window. Zooming and panning can be accomplished using a variety of techniques, some of which rely on your mouse, and some that use a special pan and zoom window, and others that use keyboard shortcuts. The first technique is using Ctrl-Shift keys. After having, say, partially or totally completing the diagram on a drawing page, let's say you want to be able to view it in further detail, and you only want to view certain shapes. So hold the Ctrl and Shift keys. The cursor will change to a magnifying glass and a plus sign, and then drag a rectangle around the shapes on the drawing page which you would like to see in further detail. And you have zoomed in. It is important to remember that you must press Ctrl and Shift keys before you click for the zoom technique to work. In order to view the entire drawing page again, press Ctrl, Shift, and the alphabet W. This has taken us back to the complete view. Ctrl, Shift, W is an incredibly useful keyboard shortcut to remember because you can frequently zoom in to specific locations on the drawing board and then return to full page view. The second technique which is available is zoom and pan window. There is a zoom and pan window which can be used to pan and zoom around the page. Go to the View tab, click on Task Panes drop down, and then click on Pan and Zoom. After clicking on Pan and Zoom, a window will appear. You can move around the page by dragging the red box and positioning it wherever you would like it to be. You can also open Pan and Zoom window by clicking the Pan and Zoom button on the right end of the status bar. Now let me introduce you to some resizing and reshaping aspects in Visio. If you would like to resize a particular object, go ahead and click on that object and simply drag this blue color handle to resize the object. This will proportionally increase or decrease the size based on what you would like it to be. The blue circle on top of the shape after selection is the rotation handle. An additional selection handle appears in the center of the shape. When you point to it, the cursor changes to a curved arrow. It is referred to as the pin, which is also the handle of rotation. For example, the pin of a geometric compass, which is used to draw circles. And in Visio, any shape can be rotated around the pin or the center. Another way of resizing and repositioning the object is by going to the View tab. Under Show, there's something called Task Panes. Click on that and then click on Size and Shape. A window would appear. This has all the attributes and it basically displays current values for the selected shape, and it can be modified by the user. So let's say if I want to move this box to the right, I'm simply going to change it to say 3, and it has moved to the right. And I can close this box by simply clicking on this. In addition, let's say we would like to align objects properly and easily. You notice these orange lines have appeared while I'm trying to align this object. If this particular option called Dynamic Grid was not checked, then these guides would not have appeared. So let me just show you. Let me just go ahead and uncheck Dynamic Grid. And now I'm going to simply drag the shape on the drawing board and I'm trying to align it. You notice the orange lines have disappeared and it has made aligning objects slightly difficult. Therefore, ensure that Dynamic Grid is always checked when you're trying to make a diagram in the drawing board. Another important point to note here is that if you would like these blue triangles to appear, you need to have Auto Connected checked under View in Visual Aids. If this is unchecked, blue triangle would not appear and you would automatically not be able to add any shapes. Therefore, it is important to check Auto Connect, and then you can add your top favorite 4 shapes to the diagram. Now let's look at Organization Chart Wizard. Organization Chart Wizard automatically creates organization chart for the user. The user has to follow instructions as per the wizard. One of the striking features of the wizard is its ability to store data. In particular, on the wizard page that appears, the user has to determine which spreadsheet data, if any, should be stored in each organization chart shape. This is a separate and unrelated decision from the fact that which data will be displayed in the organization chart. This is simply for storage and it is regardless of what data that the user is going to display in the organization chart, and even if it is not stored in the wizard. The main reason for this feature is to allow users to run reports or use the data in other ways without the need to revert to the original data source. Based on the data provided, the chart wizard connects each group of people to its respective superiors, but the user cannot control the placement of people on the page. User can relocate people and groups after the wizard has created the diagram. Initial placement of people cannot be controlled. Let's say you have received an Excel file from HR and you need to be able to create an organization chart based on the data in the table. It consists of name of the employee, the title or the designation, the employee reporting relationship, employee number, salary, rating. Now I'm going to go to Visio. I'm going to click on File tab and I'm going to click on New. Under Home tab, under Template Categories, I'm going to click on Business. Once I do that, various business templates would appear. From that, I'm going to select something called Organization Chart Wizard. Once I do that, on the right hand side, a description of the chart and a picture appears. And I'm going to click, and at the bottom there's something called Create. I'm going to click on Create. Another window would appear. It is asking me whether I want to create my organization chart from data which is already stored in file or database, or I want to enter it using the wizard. I'm going to select the first option because I know my Excel file contains that data, and I'm going to click OK. The next window is asking me what kind of file it is. I know it's an Excel file, so I'm going to click Next after selecting that option. And now it's asking us where is it located. It is located in my Visio folder, and it is called Organization Chart 1. So I am simply going to click Next. Once I have browsed through the location and selected that file, again, let's just click Next. The next window is asking us what are the fields that we would like to display in the organization chart. So the first is name. So I would like to display the name of the employee. So from the drop down, I'm simply going to select name. These drop downs essentially contain all the column names or field names from the Excel file. My next option would be reports to, because I would like to display that. And there is a field in my Excel file which contains that particular information, as we have seen. I'm going to leave the third option blank because I have already selected name in the first option. Now let's just go ahead and click Next. This is the window which lets the user specify what he or she would like to view in his or her organization chart. So I would like to view the name of the employee, the salary, the designation, and the first field that I would like to view is the designation or the title. So I'm simply going to select that, and I'm going to click up and then up again because that's the first thing I want to view. And it's going to appear in exactly this order. Then I'm going to click Next. This is the window which is going to store the data. This is regardless of the fact that what is going to appear in the organization chart. So there's nothing that I would like to store at this point of time, so I'm simply going to remove it. And now let's just click Next. I want the wizard to automatically break my organization chart across pages. So I'm simply going to click Finish now. It's just going to take a while. And now it has appeared. As you can see, this is the CEO of the company, and these are the various subordinates of this company. If you would like to further play around with this chart, you can go to the Organization tab, which has been activated, and then let's say I want the second subordinates to appear in a vertical manner. So under Organization Chart tab, under Layout, I'm going to click on Vertical drop down, and I'm simply going to, let's say I'm going to select Center Left. So it has changed to that. There are other options available here as well, such as you have the option of inserting picture of the employees. You can also organize data. You can export or import this data. You can move right or left. Another feature I would like to point out here is of auto size. Currently our organization chart is not so big, but if it was, let's say if it was expanding to another page as well, so it may not have fit into this page. So how can we work around that? So go to the Design tab. Under Page Setup, there's something called Auto Size. Click on it. Now the chart has expanded to another page, and another page has been added. If the auto size is not activated, then page would not have expanded. So therefore, if you would like to select the auto size, you need to go to the page setup and click on auto size, and it will automatically increase the page size based on the data available on the drawing board.
This video was brought to you by CXO Learning Academy, a premier learning initiative by CXO Math. For any queries, you can email us at learning@cxomap.com. Thank